Get ready, Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball. Join us Friday, April 24th through Sunday, April 26th for our first homestand of the season and our 5th anniversary celebration. Score big with $5 tickets. Grab $5 domestic draft beers. Enjoy $5 popcorn. And yes, 2 Nathan's hot dogs for just $5. Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats. It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noah Layden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noah
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Tuesday, April 21st. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunshine today, but still not warm. High 51. Tonight and overnight cloudy. Showers after midnight, low 46. And then Wednesday, we're going to see rain in the morning, clouds in the afternoon, the high 57. If you're walking out the door with us right now, 30 and clear in Stony Point up in Rockland, 32 and clear in Cranberry over in New Jersey, and it's 33 and clear right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
A team of peacemakers ready to make a deal with Iran. Wait till you hear who's leaving New York and why. Another Gotti is set to go to prison. Philly says they won't take advantage of World Cup fans like New Jersey Transit plans to. And should a Westchester dad lose his job for something his daughter did? All right, let's get into it at 5:01. LAR prayer vigil held Monday for a 15-year-old boy who was killed in a park in Queens last week, shot to death. 15-year-old Jaden Pierre killed last Thursday after he was shot in Roy Wilkins Park in St. Albans. Police still looking for the gunman, investigating a motive. Last week, hundreds of teens had gathered in the park for what was supposed to be a massive water balloon fight. Instead, it turned into this violent attack, followed by a single shot fired into Pierre's chest. Police have released images of the gunman. State Attorney General Letitia James, she was at this vigil last night.
The police know who shot Jaden. In fact, they even know where he is. I would urge this gentleman to turn yourself in.
Balloons were released for this young man last night who never got to finish his 9th grade year.
It was everything to me. Everything. You know what I mean? I love you, Jaden. I love you with everything in me, my heart, my blood, my
That's
soul.
a family member. Investigators believe the shooting may be gang-related.
Every day I ask for Jaden. That was my best friend. My best friend.
Nobody deserved to see the kid leave this world before them. I'm 80 years old, and he's left the world, and I'm still here.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of these teens. So many of them, right? I feel like almost every day, unfortunately, I have some sort of teen murder story, and this is another horrible one out of Queens. 5:02, civil rights activists want the NYPD now to take further action after that video last week captured officers punching, kicking a man. They tried to take him into custody. Police thought the man had been involved in some sort of drug deal, but it was later determined that they had the wrong guy. So now 6 Brooklyn North narcotic detectives, along with a captain and a lieutenant, have been transferred to other precincts in Brooklyn and Queens after that cell phone video showed 2 detectives beating a man who turned out to be the wrong suspect. The 2 detectives seen in the video, they were immediately placed on modified duty, stripped of their guns and badges. The sergeant, who was their immediate supervisor of those detectives at the time of the arrest, is now on modified duty, stripped of his gun as well. Now, witnesses recorded this cell phone video that shows the detectives punching and kicking this man for several minutes. Now, I suggest we haven't seen all of this video yet. Now, it could be these guys are in the wrong, but sometimes we get half of the video, not all of it. Yesterday, Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch, she met with some activists in the community in Brooklyn who are upset, of course, about what they've seen in this video, and they want to know what she's going to do about it.
These so-called officers should not be an employee of the police department.
Now, one of the activists that met with Police Commissioner Tisch yesterday was Gwen Carr, the mother of Eric Garner.
We need these officers to stand accountable. We need transparency. We need them, when they're found wrong, to go to jail, as one of us would if we abused another citizen as they abused the citizens of New York.
The NYPD spokesman says the commissioner met with these activists as part of an ongoing conversation with community members. She calls the incident deeply disturbing, but again, they're still investigating this. Now, it may end up these cops are in the wrong, but sometimes we get a portion of the video and not all of it. 504. A U.S. delegation led by Vice President J.D. Vance set to travel to Pakistan this morning for potential peace talks with Iran. More on that from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
And President Trump has proven before he does not bluff. When he makes a promise, he follows through on it. And I'm not sure why, after 10 years of covering this president, the American media still cannot understand when President Trump says he's going to do something, he's going to do it.
And so it comes after Iran vowed to retaliate after the U.S. Navy seized an Iranian flagged ship over the weekend. Iran's foreign minister said there's been no decision made to come to the peace table for talks. But Reuters is reporting this morning that Iran will attend these peace discussions with the U.S., and that's why J.D. Vance is on his way there.
The idea that President Trump would not be the final decision maker is a fallacy, and the idea that President Trump would strike a deal that is not in the best interest of the American people, the American taxpayer, our great military, is also laughable. He's the negotiator in chief.
That was Caroline Leavitt on Fox News. Last night, President Trump has threatened to knock out Iran's power plant's bridges if no deal is reached, as the ceasefire between Iran and the U.S. is set to expire tomorrow.
Donald Trump has said that he doesn't want to extend it because he doesn't feel it would be necessary. His thinking last week, at least, was that a deal would be done before that ceasefire deadline comes up. And remember, he has threatened Iran with potentially more strikes from the United States if it doesn't sign on to a deal.
That's correspondent Keir Simons. And then there's this other sideline story, of course, with Pope Leo that just doesn't seem to go away. The war of words between Pope Leo and President Trump about the war in Iran. Now, the Pope has been in Africa touring there. Correspondent Ann Thompson reports that Leo says he's not interested in debating the president anymore about what's taking place in Iran.
Now, Leo explaining that not everything the first American Pope says on this trip is directed at the American president.
The talk that I gave at the prayer meeting for peace a couple days ago was prepared 2 weeks ago.
Well, of course, the issue is the reporters keep asking him about this, and he feels the need to address it. Leo told reporters aboard his flight to Angola that comments he made at a prayer meeting criticizing tyrants this week was prepared 2 weeks ago and had nothing to do with the president. But, of course, the reporters suggested that it did.
It was looked at as if I was trying to debate, again, the president, which is not in my interest at all.
Yeah, I think the Pope just wants this story to go away. Christopher White, who's been on a number of papal trips and who wrote a book about Pope Leo, was asked if he's ever seen anything like this clash between the president and the Pope.
This conflict is unprecedented. On the other hand, it does sort of make sense. Pope Leo and President Trump have very different leadership styles, very different visions of the world.
Yeah, maybe that'll be the end of it right there. WABC News Time, 5:09. 2 are dead, 5 wounded in another mass shooting, this time in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Yesterday, it happened at a park not far from a middle school.
The investigation has revealed that this incident stemmed from a group of juveniles gathering at the park for a pre-planned fight. We want to be clear that this incident did not occur on school grounds.
The fight escalated into gunfire.
We can confirm at this point that there was a total of 7 individuals were struck by gunfire. Detectives are actively working to determine each individual's role in this incident.
Yeah, the 5 remaining victims at an area hospital. There's no word on the motive for the shooting. I mean, it's some sort of battle that started that then turned into gunfire. And then we have an update on this awful mass shooting over the weekend in Louisiana. Police there say the investigation into Sunday's mass shooting still ongoing. A dad killed 7 of his own kids Sunday morning. The Shreveport police chief gave an update yesterday.
The caller stated that they were on top of a house. The suspect was inside and that a male had been shot.
8 children were killed, 2 adults wounded in what appears to have started as a domestic violence incident. Police say this will go down as one of the worst days in Shreveport history.
The victim identified the suspect as Shamar Elkins. At 6:10, dispatch linked the Harrison Street shooting with the shooting on West 79th Street, and that they all were related.
Yesterday, our community experienced a tragic act of violence that has impacted families, neighbors, that has impacted our entire city.
Yeah, so that 31 Shamar Elkins, the father of the 7 of murdered children, he was killed by police after a brief chase. Of course, you have to think there are mental health issues there, but of course, now that he's dead, we'll never really know. 511, a Democrat who just won a special election in New Jersey to serve the congressional seat that was held by Governor Mikey Sherrill, has been sworn in.
Ana Lila Mejia will represent the 11th congressional district in North Jersey. The progressive Democrat beat out former Randolph Mayor and Republican Joe Hathaway in this month's special election.
The daughter of a Dominican factory worker and a Colombian seamstress who grew up wondering, what could I possibly be in this world as a working class kid who watched her parents struggle.
The term ends January 3rd. Mejia will then have to run again in November if she wants a chance to serve a full term in the House. I'm Jennifer Bolsoni.
John Gotti's grandson, the late John Gotti's grandson, is now going to go to prison in a COVID-19 loan scheme.
Carmine Agnello was sentenced to 15 months behind bars on Monday after pleading guilty to wire fraud. The 40-year-old Oyster Bay man admitted that he fraudulently obtained more than $1 million in Small Business Administration loans during the pandemic. Agnello tried to avoid prison by offering to donate a kidney last month to his ailing mother. The transplant surgery never happened. Prosecutors had sought a 33 to 41-month prison sentence for Agnello. I'm Sarah Lee Kessler.
513, let's go down to Washington. Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRemer stepping down now.
White House spokesman Stephen Chung posting on X that Chavez DeRemer will be leaving the administration to take a position in the private sector. The secretary had been facing a probe from the Labor Department's Inspector General over potential misconduct. Chavez DeRemer is the 3rd cabinet secretary this term to leave the Trump administration following the departures of Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi. The White House says Keith Sonderling will serve as acting secretary of the Labor Department. I'm Liz Warner.
Congress going to get involved now, investigate the suspicious deaths, disappearances of American scientists connected to U.S. nuclear or space research programs. House Oversight and Government Reform Chair James Comer says it's very unlikely these cases are all a coincidence, and he's pressing for answers now.
Well, it does appear that there's a high possibility that something sinister is taking place here.
If you haven't been following this story, at least 10 scientists are either dead or have gone missing since 2022, and each reportedly had high-level security clearance at a national research facility. Comer described the situation as a national security concern.
Congress is very concerned about this. Our committee is making this one of our priorities now because we view this as a national security threat.
Yeah, so Comer now asking for a congressional investigation. He says he will help lead that.
So that we can see if we can put it together and find any missing links to try to solve what's going on here, because it's very unlikely that this is a coincidence.
So Comer says now he'll want to hear from several agencies, including NASA, Department of War, Department of Energy, as they possibly connect the dots in this case. 5:15, Apple CEO Tim Cook has resigned and named his successor.
Tim Cook is stepping down after more than a decade as Apple CEO, a job he inherited from the Apple founder, Steve Jobs. Cook has named his successor, John Ternus, the current senior vice president of Apple's hardware engineering division. He'll join the board when he takes over as CEO. Tim Cook will become the company's executive chairman. Under Cook, Apple has transformed itself from an iPod, iPhone, iPad, and Mac maker into a successful services company, offering not only phones and computers, but Apple Music, Apple TV, and Apple Pay as well. Apple's market cap capitalization has increased over 20-fold under Tim Cook's leadership. Its closing value on Monday evening was $4 trillion. John Terrett, 77 WABC News.
In a moment, we'll go down to Virginia today, where a vote could end up shifting the balance of power in Congress. We'll get to that. But first, 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Good morning to you, Noah Maladen. Start at MSG on the hardwood. Knicks got stunned 107-106 by the Hawks, tying their first-round playoff series at 1 game apiece. C.J. McCollum led a late surge that was almost for naught when he missed 2 free throws with 5.6 seconds remaining. The Knicks rushed the ball up the court without any timeouts left, but Mikal Bridges missed a jumper as time expired. New York had led the whole second half and were up 12 after 3 quarters. Atlanta chipped away, and a basket by McCollum gave the Hawks a 101-100 lead, their first of the series in the second half with 2:09 to play. He made another for a 3-point lead, and after Jalen Brunson tied it with a 3-pointer, McCollum answered with another jumper to make it 105-103 with 33 seconds to play. The Knicks had been 40-1 in the postseason since the advent of the shot clock, and when leading by 12 or more after 3 quarters, I should say. Jalen Brunson had 29 points for the Knicks, and Karl-Anthony Towns added 18. Josh Hart had 15 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists. Game 3 is scheduled for Thursday night as the series gets set to move over to Atlanta. And looking ahead to baseball tonight, starting out in Boston. Tonight at 6:45 p.m., Game 1 of 3. Luis Gil will start for the Yankees against Boston's Connolly Early. First matchup between the longtime rivals Red Sox and Yankees coming up tonight. And the Mets will welcome in the Minnesota Twins for the first of 3 tonight, 7:10 p.m. Nolan McLean will start against Simeon Woods Richardson. That is your sports, Noam, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time, 5:19. Let's head down to Virginia, where they'll head to the polls today for a vote that could end up shifting the balance of power in Congress.
If successful, the redistricting referendum would redraw the state's congressional maps and could give Democrats a 10-1 advantage in the upcoming midterms. Democrats say it's necessary because Republicans are doing the same in states like Texas. But Republicans say this is different because Democrats are trying to amend Virginia's constitution. The group behind the effort has outspent the opposition $64 million to $19 million. I'm Chris Coraggio.
Let's head out to California, where they're talking elections as too. Former state controller Betty Yee, she's dropped out of the race for governor in California. At one point, they had a ton of candidates in this race. Of course, Eric Swalwell's gone. Now so is Betty Yee.
My work will not end. We live in a great state, and I hope for anyone who's feeling particularly challenged today, know that the leadership of California going forward is going to matter.
Democrat had poor poll numbers. San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan, he's still in it. He says California is responsible for some of the highest gas prices in the state. He says he would change that if he became governor.
Mind-boggling that we regulated refineries largely out of the state, and now we import oil and gas from thousands of miles away, higher carbon footprint, higher price, and then, of course, we lost the jobs and the tax base the refineries used to provide. I mean, it's kind of dumb on multiple levels.
Now, the way California works is that primary happens in June. Top 2 candidates, be they Republicans, Democrats, or from both parties, they go on to the November election. Right now, Steve Hilton continues to lead. He's a Republican. Second place is Xavier Becerra. He's a Democrat. Right behind him is another Republican, Chad Bianco. WABC News Time, 5:20. California's asking a judge to stop Amazon from allegedly forcing sellers to raise prices as part of a lawsuit accusing the company of unfairly controlling online shopping prices.
Amazon has been coordinating with vendors and major retailers, including Target, Walmart, Chewy, Best Buy, and Home Depot, to raise prices across the market.
That's Attorney General Rob Bonta, who says some vendors have been pressured by Amazon to change their prices. He says the legal actions about protecting people from paying more than they should for everyday products.
Especially at a time when affordability feels farther and farther out of reach. It's about making sure prices are set by real competition, not behind-the-scenes pressure from Amazon.
Yes, Bonta says Amazon is using its power as a top online retailer to keep prices high on its sites and others. 5:21, one more out of California. We're hearing from the family who watched as over the weekend this hot air balloon landed in their backyard. All of a sudden, this balloon, I mean, they have this small little backyard, but all of a sudden a hot air balloon was there with 13 people in the basket. Hunter Perrin, the homeowner, says a neighbor came rushing over to tell him. He said, wait a minute, I saw a hot air balloon land in your backyard.
And I opened up the door and he goes, they just landed in your backyard. And I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, the balloons.
This video's up at WABCRadio.com. So these 13 people obviously didn't plan to land in this backyard. It was supposed to be an open field, but they could not make it there. They seemed all happy about it, that they were okay. The homeowner took a video showing the passengers in good spirits.
It's such an odd event. It was really hard to kind of keep track of time.
We got to meet a lot of neighbors that we never met before.
Yeah, everyone was coming out trying to see what was going on.
Yeah, the pilot says the wind died down and the hot air balloon was running low on fuel, so they had to find a place to land, and he did so successfully without anybody getting hurt in this family's backyard. 522 down to Texas, where work on the state-funded border wall in Texas is wrapping up.
Mission accomplished. All of the crews are leaving or have left.
That's the guy who's been heading the project. It took about 4 years. The state has spent all kinds of money building 82 miles of fencing. It costs, in the end, it'll be about $3 billion.
Crews are leaving or have left. And that piece of our history is now complete.
Yeah, but they say this fence is working.
We are right at the end of this journey. We placed the last panel.
523, let's go over to Wisconsin, getting more details on this protest that took place over the weekend. Hundreds of protesters were hit over the weekend with tear gas and rubber bullets in Wisconsin during a failed attempt to raid a medical research lab that experiments on beagles, dogs. About 1,000 protesters showed up at this farm over the weekend to try to rescue the beagles. And Dr. Patricia McConnell, she was part of the effort. She says, this is what happened over the weekend.
I'm sort of a very law-abiding Midwestern woman, but this is like if you saw not just one dog, but 1,900 dogs trapped in a hot car suffering horribly, and you didn't break through the windows to get in.
And this is what police told us yesterday. They claimed the protesters brought tools to break in. One drove a truck through the front gate. The raid was thwarted by local authorities. They arrested 26 people in the end. The lab is set to surrender its license later this year after a special prosecutor found it had performed experiments that were considered animal mistreatment. 524, the Supreme Court has agreed to take up a case involving whether or not Catholic schools in Colorado must accept children from same-sex couples in order to continue to receive state funding.
A state law allowing public and private schools to take part in a universal preschool program includes a non-discrimination provision. The Archdiocese of Denver argues that rule is at odds with its religious rights. In 1990, the Supreme Court ruled if a law applies equally to everyone, the religious exemptions are not required. Arguments in the case are expected to be heard this fall. In Denver, I'm Keenan Dixon.
Police in Fairfax County, Virginia, they have finally arrested a man who's been accused of breaking into several homes while wearing nothing but shoes.
Authorities have identified 21-year-old Cedric Walker as a man accused of breaking into several homes in Northern Virginia over the past several weeks. Drones were able to pinpoint where the man was after police spotted him walking down a street just before 5 a.m. last week. Police had been staking at a home in Centerville in hopes of finding him. He was arrested and charged with multiple counts of burglary and indecent exposure. Police say he's connected to several burglaries in the area and has no previous criminal record. He's being held without bond. I'm Rose Cia Rivera.
WABC News Time 525. Do you know the singer David? If you don't, you're like me, didn't really know who he was. Your kids definitely do, and they'll tell you about him. He has pled not guilty to all charges connected to the death of a teenage girl whose body was found in the back of his trunk. This is an ongoing case. It's been going on maybe a year now.
We believe the actual evidence will show David Burke did not murder
Celeste Rivas Hernandez, nor was he the cause of her death.
So the performer, whose real name is David Burke, he was arrested last week after the remains of a 14-year-old girl, Celeste Hernandez, was found in the trunk of his Tesla. This was 8 months ago. Burke was charged with first-degree murder yesterday. If convicted, could face life in prison. The L.A. County DA says Rivas Hernandez was killed when she threatened to expose the famed singer. He's being currently held without bail behind bars. Here's the judge in the case.
Thank you. So the matter will be set. Pleading not guilty has been heard on behalf of Mr. Burke.
Yeah, a little hard to hear, but either way, they heard his plea of not guilty, and then the judge set no bail for Burke.
Anything further? Bail to stand, no bail. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Tuesday, April 21st. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Sunshine today. The high's only going to be 51, though. Tonight and overnight, cloudy, showers after midnight, low 46, and then we'll start Wednesday with rain in the morning, clouds in the afternoon, the high going to be 57. If you're walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are, 30 clear in Stony Point up in Rockland, 32 and clear in Cranberry over in New Jersey, and it's 33 and clear right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time, 5:40. The grandson of mob boss John Gotti, sentenced yesterday to 15 months in federal prison. 40-year-old Carmine pled guilty to lying on applications for COVID relief and then illegally receiving about $1 million in loans. Apparently, he squandered that on gambling. In addition to the 15 months in prison, he'll have 2 years of supervised release. He'll have to also pay back that money. It's about $1.2 million. His uncle, he was in court or outside court yesterday. Let's try it again. Here was his uncle outside court yesterday.
We have 15 members of our family that went to prison. I think it's enough.
Yeah, it's a lot. Can you imagine? So he admitted to taking over $1 million COVID relief funds and stated in the courtroom that it was wrong, selfish, and criminal. Here's his lawyer, Jeffrey Lichtman.
His life has been wrecked, I would say, over the last few years due to his own action. He's obviously mortified about what happened. This isn't something he's proud of. He's sickened by his actions, but he also is hopeful for the future.
Yeah, you would think. You remember, he was in the show Growing Up Gotti, right? So you'd think that was a pretty successful reality show, and you'd say, oh, look at my family members. They've all gone to prison. I don't want to do the same thing. But that's not the case here. He will turn himself in on July 20th. Across all income levels, more people moved out of New York City than moved in last year. It's according to a new study from the Citizens Budget Commission. Study released yesterday found that after 2 years of solid growth, the city's overall population declined in 2025. It's driven by a 70% drop in international migration and the loss of New Yorkers to other areas. So the question you might ask is, who are these people that are leaving? Now, we were told after Mayor Mamdani won that the wealthiest New Yorkers would be the first one to go, but that has not been the case, at least so far anyway. But if we look back at last year's numbers before he was mayor, the city lost low and middle income residents, more of them than they did high income. Between 2023 and 2024, more New Yorkers with incomes in the bottom 40% left the city than residents with incomes in the top 40%. Millennials, they are the biggest group that's leaving when it comes to ethnic groups. Hispanics are the fastest group leaving New York. And where do they go to after they leave New York City? They apparently don't really go that far away, the majority of them anyway, either Long Island or New Jersey. If they leave the tri-state area, the big places to go probably won't be surprising to you: Florida, California, and Texas. 5:43. It was a wild chase between a Lamborghini that was stolen in Elmwood Park, New Jersey yesterday, and police. The speeds reached over 100 miles per hour as the thieves tried in vain to evade capture after an intense police chase through multiple towns in northern New Jersey yesterday. The driver was eventually arrested. Here was the owner of the car, who said he was glad that he got his car back.
My belief, honestly, I've been targeted for 3 days or maybe more, or maybe I've been followed. I don't know. But I do personally believe that I've been followed and I've been targeted for specifically this car.
So police chased this vehicle, this Lamborghini, for a while through a bunch of Bergen County towns, Upper Saddle River. At one point, they used a tire deflation device as the vehicle made its way through parameters, but the driver kept on going, even with the damaged tires. Finally made it to Hillside, and that's where the car was surrounded and boxed in by police vehicles. This eyewitnesses watched it all play out yesterday.
Well, first of all, I was in the garage, and we heard a siren going off and off and off and off. So I opened up the garage door. Next thing I was saying, they closed the door, closed the door. We see the footsteps just running by the street. Next thing you know, we came out and looked down here, down the street, Lamborghini, busted up.
Now, even after they were cornered, after stealing this Lamborghini, the three in the car tried to get away. They didn't. One of the people was identified as a 21-year-old, Munir Muhammad of Newark. Here is police from Elmwood Park who were part of this chase.
They tracked the vehicle several towns. A chase ensued. Eventually, the vehicle was stopped in Hillside, and one out of the two suspects was arrested and brought into custody.
Yes, so the other one is still on the loose this morning. The investigation is ongoing. In a moment, we'll head over to Philadelphia, where they're treating World Cup soccer fans a whole lot better than we are here in the tri-state. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Eller.
Thank you, Noah Maladen. Start here at MSG. Knicks got stunned 107-106 by the Hawks, tying their first-round playoff series at one game apiece. C.J. McCollum led a late surge that was almost for naught when he missed two free throws with 5.6 seconds remaining. The Knicks rushed the ball up the court without any timeouts left, but Mikal Bridges missed a jumper as time expired. New York had led the whole second half and were up 12 after three quarters. Atlanta chipped away, and a basket by McCollum gave the Hawks a 101-100 lead, their first of the series in the second half with 2:09 to play. He made another for a three-point lead, and after Jalen Brunson tied it with a three-pointer, McCollum answered with another jumper to make it 105-103 with 33 seconds to play. The Knicks had been 40-1 in the postseason since the advent of the shot clock, when leading by 12 or more after three quarters. Jalen Brunson had 29 points for the Knicks, and Karl Anthony Towns added 18. Josh Hart had 15 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists. Game 3 is scheduled for Thursday night as the series gets set to move back, or not back, but over to Atlanta. Head to look ahead to the Diamond tonight. A couple new series getting underway for our local baseball squads. The Yankees will be out in Boston for Game 1 of 3 against the Red Sox. First time those rivals are meeting this season. That's a 6:45 p.m. first pitch. Luis Gil will get the start there against Boston's Connolly early. And the Mets will welcome in the Minnesota Twins for the first of a 3-game set, 7:10 p.m. first pitch tonight from Citi Field. Nola McLean will get the start against Minnesota's Simeon Woods Richardson as the Mets do their best to squash that 11-game losing streak.
What do you think?
No.
It's not going to happen today?
No, I think they get handedly swept once again. That's what we're rooting for, at least now.
Do you know when the last time the Yankees lost 11 games in a row was?
I would have to say the mid-1900s.
Yeah, 1913 was the last time they lost 11 games in a row.
Oh, my God. I thought I was going to be better safe than sorry going with the mid-1900s. No. But, man, that's a long time. Well, 11 games is a lot.
Yeah.
Yesterday. So.
And no movement. Nobody's been given the boot, right?
Nope. No news on that yet. So we'll keep a close eye, obviously, as the Mets try and get off the schneid. That's your sports gnome, and I'm Justin Alec on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time, 5:49. Of course, the big story over the last 2 weeks in New Jersey has been the fact that New Jersey Transit will charge World Cup fans $150 a ticket to go from Penn Station devastation to the Meadowlands during the World Cup because they say it's an inconvenience. It's costing the state millions of dollars, and so they're going to let the fans pay for it. So Philadelphia yesterday, where they'll also be holding World Cup matches this summer, said they're going to do the opposite thing. They're going to let soccer fans take transportation there for free for World Cup matches this summer.
The city announced fans will be able to ride its SEPTA system free of charge, leaving Lincoln Financial Field thanks to a partnership with Airbnb. Fares will also be kept at their regular $2.90 pricing to get to the stadium. The announcement comes as other host cities have faced criticism for transportation costs. Fans attending games in Boston and New Jersey are facing train and bus fares of up to $150. Meanwhile, parking for matches in Los Angeles will cost fans up to $300. I'm at Mattinson.
Let's head up to Westchester, where you have hundreds of parents calling for the resignation of the Scarsdale School Board president following an anti-Semitic incident at the high school. So there were flyers that were promoting a student-led Israeli Culture Club event, and apparently they were torn down and thrown away at Scarsdale High. Some of them were found in a urinal, and parents were told that the daughter of the school board president, his name is James Duggan, had shared a photo of one of these flyers in the urinal on Instagram, and then next to the picture she wrote, "Keep up the good work." So her father, of course, condemned what his daughter did, but some parents, a lot of them, are now saying that he should resign. So I asked the question, should the father pay the price for what his daughter did? Well, we asked parents up in the Hudson Valley.
It just once again demonstrates how much hatred there is in the world.
I think it has to be more looked at to see what exactly transpired.
Now, the school board president says he's talked with his daughter. She has apologized, but you still have all these parents saying that he should step aside. Not everybody agrees with that.
At least for the kids who did it, suspension, or if not, just completely kicking them out of the school. If you take it like that, it's a hate crime.
Yeah, that's a student at Scarsdale High says, no, better yet, you just find the people who were behind ripping those Israel signs down. 5:51, it doesn't appear the New York State budget will be finalized anytime soon. Governor Hochul asked about what appears to be the holdup between her and state lawmakers getting this thing done.
I've been hoping we'd be done since April 1st, but I'm not walking back from, I believe, the priorities that New Yorkers deserve to have. The majority of them focused on affordability.
Now, the governor only wanted to talk about her new proposals that would help bring down auto insurance costs, that she says she's trying to get immigration and ICE-related proposals added to this budget. It was due back on April 1st, but hasn't been done yet.
I am not walking back from my commitment to do whatever I can in my power with the legislature and the people of New York who want to have a relief from some of the highest auto insurance premiums in America.
And the governor also yesterday talking about the fact that New York State businesses can now get tariff refunds from the federal government.
Businesses can begin submitting documentation to reclaim the money they paid, and that's an important first step.
And I think yesterday was the last day, but Governor Hochul says she's still fighting a court battle to get individual New York households reimbursed because of the tariffs. Now, she claims the average New York family is owed roughly $1,700 related to the tariffs imposed. And, good luck getting that money back, but she claims she might be able to.
So I'm not going to stop fighting for those families to get relief. Everyday New Yorkers, farmers and families, like I said, buying groceries, going about their lives, are paying more because of an illegal tariff scheme.
5:53, let's go over to New Jersey, where the top law enforcement there joining a coalition of 24 states warning of a spike in scams if a proposal goes through for major changes at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. More on that from Levon Putney.
The Trump administration is planning to cut the CFPB staff from about 1,700 to about 550, and because of that, New Jersey Attorney General Jennifer Davenport says residents could be left vulnerable, since she noted 40% of U.S. adults reported a form of financial fraud last year, and that is why Davenport says she and the other AGs from the coalition of states are suing to block the federal changes to the CFPB, arguing fewer enforcement workers could hurt the agency's ability to keep eyes on banks and lenders. I'm Levon Putney.
While we're in New Jersey, we were watching on yesterday as 3 miniature pizzas flew through the sky. These thin crust joint, it's called the Columbia Inn. This is in Montville, New Jersey. They're trying out these autonomous drone pizza delivery devices all over the northeastern part of the country, but I guess New Jersey is like the central point where they're trying this. So the personal pies, they were 2 cheese and 1 pepperoni pizza, were delivered to a home in just a matter of a couple minutes, which means the pizza got to this home in Montville hot, thanks to these drones that were about 400 feet above the homes as they made their way from the pizza shop to the homes they were being delivered to. Of course, much faster than using Grubhub or some guy on an electric bike.
We're introducing technology that's been here that really people haven't known about, and now this is going to open up adoption more. I'm really excited for the future of pizza in New Jersey. We're going to keep local pizza thriving, and we look forward to keeping it growing.
Now, we've seen all these experiments that have happened in New Jersey over the last couple months with drones and different forms of food being delivered to homes. The question we had, but we didn't get it answered, is when will this become commonplace, where drones, instead of Uber drivers, will deliver your Grubhub, whatever the app is, will deliver the food to your home, and didn't get a real answer on that. And we'll end with this story. Shoppers at a ShopRite on McDonald Avenue in Brooklyn say they have been caught off guard this week after new signage went up in the store that informed customers that their biometric data is being collected by the store. The notice that's posted right near the entrance states that the store is collecting personal information that can include facial features, eye characteristics, voice data. Some shoppers say they did not notice the sign until it was pointed out to them, and once it was, they had a lot of questions that they wanted answered.
I don't really know why they need to collect our information at ShopRite, because we're just shopping for groceries, and it's like just an invasion of privacy.
Unfortunately, it's the future, because the shoplifting is ridiculous.
Because I didn't do anything, and it'd be an invasion of privacy.
Yeah, so stores started collecting biometric data, at least some anyway, because it's a way to find people who've been ripping them off when they walk in the store. And of course, it alerts security because they match these biometric things like their face, their eyes, or whatever, and then they're able to follow these guys or maybe kick them out of the store. But lots of people have questions of what is done with this stuff that is collected. Is it held on to? Is it erased?
No, I did not know this was happening. If you didn't tell me, I would not have known about it.
What happens to all of that footage after we leave the store? Right. Does it get erased? Do they hold it? Do they sell it?
That's a great question, and we reached out to ShopRite for an answer to that. We did not get one back. This is not the first time grocery store surveillance has raised concerns here in the city. Earlier this year, you might remember that biometric notices went up at the Wegmans in Brooklyn, where shoppers also questioned how their personal information, all this data that's being collected, is being handled, is being held on to, is it being erased? All great questions. Hopefully we'll have a better answer for you when we hear back from ShopRite.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?